Thank you all, and welcome to my session about how to scale, in this case from 1 to 10 million, but then facilitated by marketing. So I'm going to share with you lots of experiences, because why do I think this session is so interesting for you? Can someone click to the next slide, because it seems the remote is not working. There it is, yeah. So why could this be a very interesting session for you? Well, because I have been in quite some situations talking about SaaS and talking about marketing. So specifically talking about SaaS, that started back in 2009. When I joined Twinfield as a marketing manager, and at that moment in time, it was one of the first online accounting companies. And so there, it was also that moment in time where social media started, like Twitter and LinkedIn also at that moment in time. Then I made the switch after about 3 years, where we were acquired by Wolters Kluwer. I started at Exact. And specifically for Exact Online. At that moment in time, when we started, it was about 10 million of ARR, and we had about 50,000 customers for online accounting. And during the tenure of my 8 years, we tenfolded the business for online accounting. So we went from 10 to 100 million in ARR, and the number of customers went from 50,000 to 500,000. So that was quite successful. Also Exact, it was at that moment in time, digitizing marketing came into play. So marketing automation, but also online marketing in general started at that moment in time. Then I made the switch to CM.com, another software company. Well, when I started, it was not a software company, but during my period of 3 years, we acquired about 8 companies, all SaaS companies, relatively smaller SaaS companies, in order to transform the business from transactional to subscription-based. Then I joined Backbase. Backbase, yeah, huge company, Dutch software company, banking software, enterprise software. So there we tested and learned a lot about marketing also, of course, but also a lot about account-based marketing, one-to-one, one-to-few, and one-to-many. So all those experiences piled up with each other. I started with Sendcloud about 6 months ago. And what I will do during this session is share a lot of experiences out of the past, but also what I'm currently experiencing within Sendcloud. So first, I want to talk about the challenges, because I can imagine, and in many situations when you start as a company, and there is a product market fit, then you start to grow. And the reason why you start to grow is because you have that product market fit, and apparently you are better and better advanced than your competition. So I will talk about the challenges where you will run into once the growth is slowing down. I will talk about the challenges, but also the root cause and how you can fix those root causes. Then I will talk about the marketing blueprint. It's my view on marketing. It's how I think we should practice marketing in a SaaS company, and I will explain you this blueprint and what that is about. Also, part of the blueprint is campaign and messaging. So the campaign foundation, but also the messaging framework. So why is it so important, and what do you need to do in order to make your business scale? And then I will conclude my session with how to collaborate with each other. Because in the end, and that's also what I experienced during my tenure, what I experienced is it's all about people. It's all about making sure that people collaborate in a healthy, safe environment, and where they feel confident to also share their views and their experiences and put them on the table. Very, very important, because in terms of skill sets within the marketing team, I have experienced you always have good people, whether it's online marketing, whether it's copywriting, but it's all about collaboration. But I will talk about that also later on. So let's first talk about challenges. And well, you can read a couple of quotes here, but I'm sure that you will recognize these. So in the different companies that I worked for, these were in general the things that I heard, whether it was from finance or sales, once we were reaching a certain ceiling in terms of growth, in terms of year-on-year growth. Well, and again, you can first read it by yourself. So things like, well, in general, with sales, there's always a healthy competition between sales and marketing. I think that's good. But yeah, I think you will recognize things like, hey, the leads are not of the quality that we expected, or the number of leads, it's really underperforming, or we need to build pipeline, we do not have sufficient leads, or things like, hey, when I speak to the market or when I speak to prospects, nobody knows our brand, nobody recognizes us. So a lot of things where you run into. And that's also a signal that yeah, something is not right. And what you have to accept at some moment in time, because when you start and you have a product market fit and you have developers and you start to expand the features and the capabilities of your SaaS platform, at some moment in time you will start to hire also other type of people, like salespeople. And pretty late in that cycle, you will start also to hire maybe marketing people. And at some moment in time, you have to acknowledge that marketing is a kind of science. It's a kind of discipline in itself. It's a kind of profession. And marketing, it's really complex. And especially today, it's really complex. And all the elements which are on this slide, you have to think about. Because it's about brand building, it's about the customer journey, it's about demand generation, it's about demand creation, demand capturing, it's about expansion, but it's also about having different crafts within your team in order to create a marketing campaign or a marketing initiative. Like people who are responsible for managing online media channels, communication professionals like copywriters, long and short copy, design people, campaign managers, product marketing managers. And besides that, you also need to think about, okay, who are my customers? Who are the companies that I want to reach out to? And within those companies, who are the personas that I want to talk to? Who are within the decision-making unit? And looking at the customers and looking at this total addressable market, can I divide or can I segment this? Because I can imagine that smaller companies do need another approach than slightly bigger or even enterprise companies. You all need to think about that. You need to think about your messaging. Because talking to different companies, talking to different personas, you might have to tailor your message towards those different segments. And then about the metrics. So there are so many metrics that you need to think about. It's about MRR, ARR, ACV, ARPU, net revenue retention rates, conversion rates, sales-ready leads, marketing qualified leads, marketing qualified inquiries. So there's a lot you have to think about if you want to practice marketing in a proper way. And marketing, it's about, well, from my view, in my view, marketing, it's about an engine. It's about an engine. It's about building an engine and facilitating the growth, the scale that you want to achieve as a SaaS company. And to summarize, it's really having a balanced framework for collaborative marketing. Let's call it that. Okay, let's first talk about the marketing blueprint. So again, it's my view. It's not rocket science, but it really helps. It really helps within the company, within the team, but also inside the company to other disciplines, but also outside the company towards investors, to have a kind of blueprint and to explain what marketing and what this blueprint is about. Okay. It's about the customer journey. And I would like, well, and in the end, if as a marketing department we facilitate the growth, in the end it's about engaging with your target audience, engaging with those different companies, engaging with those different personas, and try to bring your message across. And always make sure that once you start to make that touch point, or when you start to make that connection, it's valuable. So you need to think about, okay, what keeps those personas awake at night? And at the same time, you also need to realize, hey, where in this customer buying journey are those personas, are those companies? So there you need to acknowledge, hey, there are different stages in this customer buying journey. And in the end, we want to engage, we want to have touch points, valuable touch points with each other, and in the end, we want to create, or we want to identify buying intent. Because once we identify buying intent, and some of us, they call it a lead, then we can transfer, or then we can push it to sales, and then they can follow up. And if we did it right, and if they do it right, then they are able to convert it into a one deal. So I would like, and I'm always splitting marketing in different stages along the buying journey, customer buying journey. It's about brand building. So that's all about building relevant reach. Build around your recognition as a brand, but also build around your reputation as a brand. Top of the funnel, people also call it. And with brand building, all the initiatives, we aim for many audiences. So not only prospects and customers, but also partners, potential investors, and even potential employees who in the future would like to work for a company like yours. The middle part, or the second part, it is demand, what I call demand generation. And I split this towards demand creation and demand capturing. Demand capturing, it is about identifying interest. So whereas brand building, you start to create brand awareness and reputation, in the middle of the funnel, it is all about identifying interest. And how can you identify interest within your addressable market, within the companies you want to reach out to, but also the personas, is once you start to understand, okay, what are their pains, what are their business challenges, not talking about the product or the platform, but just in general terms, try to understand, hey, what is it what they are coping with, and how can I make a connection and plant a first seed so people might start to talk to you, whether that's via online webinars or downloadable stuff for the website, etc. But that's middle of the funnel. And then bottom of the funnel, you are really talking about demand capturing. And demand capturing, it's really about converting all those engagements and identifying buying intent. Buying intent, and if you identify this, you can forward this signal to the sales department. And once they become a customer, then we have this expansion team, of an expansion stage phase, where, as a company, you try to expand and also to retain the customers which are with you. So blueprint. And, well, I think it is generally known that only 5% of your audience, 3 to 5% of your audience is in market, is ready to buy. They know they have an issue, they know they have a problem, so they are actively looking for someone. So you have to make sure that you are on the radar. Which also means that 95% of your audience is not in market. So, and you also need to take care of this serviceable or addressable market. Because, if you want to make sure that once they become in market, they think of you, you are in their top 3 list, you need to make sure that they get to know you in an early stage. So 5% in market. And what I see in many situations is that, and that's also logical, is that marketing is mainly done within the bottom of the funnel. And also within the bottom of the, which I understand, because that's the low-hanging fruit, because that's about people who are in market, so they are actively looking for something. But you also need to realize, if you are not working on the left part, that if you reach out to someone and that someone doesn't know you, it takes a couple of times to convince that person to click on something, to visit your website, to attend a webinar, to attend an event, visit you on the booth as a sponsor on an event. So you also need to work on those other parts to make that happen. So this blueprint is all about acknowledging, hey, we have audiences, we have companies, we have different type of personas, they are in different stages of that buying journey, and we need to make sure that if we reach out to them, that we take that into account, that we take that in, that we keep that in mind. Okay, campaign messaging and campaign foundation and messaging framework. And here I make a double click on the previous model. So this was the previous model. And I double click it, and this is specifically for Sendcloud. And I can also explain to you, so I'm now with Sendcloud for 6 months, and I can also explain to you where we were when I joined and what we changed. So this is by double-clicking on the blueprint. And by double-clicking on the blueprint, you still see brand building part, demand creation part, and demand capturing part. On the horizontal axis, you see the main personas, buying personas, that we have to take into account as Sendcloud. And I didn't even explain what Sendcloud is about. But Sendcloud, it's an e-commerce shipping platform. So today we have about 30,000 customers, which are web shops, and they want to ship their products to their consumers. And once they connect with our platform, they can send those parcels, those packages worldwide. Which means that at the back end, we have connections with close to 100 carriers, like PostNL, FedEx, UPS, etc., etc. And you can then think about, okay, but those customers, those web shops can make their own connection to PostNL, for instance, and that's true. But if you want to offer flexibility to your end consumer, so you want to, because some of those carriers, they are better in domestic, some of them are better international, some of them are better in bigger packages or smaller packages. You want to offer this flexibility, then especially as a smaller web shop, you have to build those multiple connections. And this is about one connection, and for systems like Magento or Shopify, those plugins or those integrations are there for free, and then with one push on a button, you are connected with the platform. So, so the personas which are relevant to us are web shop owners, and once those web shops become slightly bigger, it's about logistic managers, customer support managers, and e-commerce managers. And you can imagine that if we are talking about our platform to those web shops and to those different personas, these are different stories. Although it's exactly the same platform, talking to a web shop owner or talking to an e-commerce manager, they have other problems, they have other challenges. And we as marketing need to make sure that we understand those if we want to engage with them. So, so if we double click, we identified, okay, these are the different personas. And if you then double click on the demand capturing part, which is on the right side, the bottom part, there we are talking about the capabilities of the platform. And we can talk about the capabilities of the platform because, again, we are talking to audiences which are in market, ready to buy. They know they have a problem. They know that they are looking for a solution. And in our case, that means we can talk about pick and pack, checkout, tracking, shipping intelligence, returns, etc., etc. These are the capabilities in our platform. And again, knowing that we have those different personas, we need to have a story for each and every persona. And here I listed, 6 capabilities. So in theory, 6 times 4, we have a potential of creating 24 different demand capturing campaigns. We are active in 8 countries. Well, you can do the calculation with yourself. This means theoretically, these are the number of campaigns. And then I'm also only talking about demand capturing campaigns that we have to take into account. Well, when I joined Sendcloud, Sendcloud 6 months ago, they were only running campaigns at the bottom of the funnel, so nothing in middle of the funnel, nothing in brand building. And the campaigns were only focused on web shop owners. And by focusing only on the web shop owners, we were attracting relatively small merchants, web shops, which is fine, but our platform is also very suitable for the slightly bigger web shops. But again, by only focusing on those web shop owners, we only attracted those smaller merchants. And we were only talking about pricing, about rates. And that is I think the right part, it's transactional. So as a smaller merchant, once you connect with our platform, and since we have large volumes that we process in the platform, so about 150 million parcels are processed annually through our platform, which means that we also have very attractive rates with all those carriers. But this was the only message that we were bringing to the market. Yeah, and of course, we are not acknowledged as a vendor or as a supplier that also can help slightly bigger merchants. So that is what we changed. So we acknowledge, hey, we have different personas, did some research, of course. Who are those personas? What keeps them awake at night? And also expanded, the type of messages that we were bringing to the market. So not talking only about pricing, but also talking about the valuable stuff in the platform, which automatically also resonates more with people like logistic managers, etc. So that is the bottom of the funnel. So there was a lot to gain. There was a lot to gain to talk about value of the platform, different personas, but also to expand to the middle of the funnel. Because right now we were only talking to this 5% who was in market, and the majority, especially in the other countries, because in the Netherlands we are quite well known, but talking about Germany, France, Spain, Sendcloud, the brand is not so much known. Which means that, we need to do a lot. We need to invest a lot of money in AdWords, in these type of campaigns, to get people on board. So we have to expand the type of campaigns also to middle of the funnel. And middle of the funnel, this is where you talk more about certain themes, more about value. Whereas at the bottom of the funnel, it's about capabilities and the benefits that you as a persona get out of the platform. So in the middle, we identified a couple of themes in general, which are interesting for merchants, for those web shops. It's about, efficiency. So how can I further optimize my operation? It's about experience. So how can I improve the experience, the delivery experience of my consumers, so they keep with me as a customer and they even start to buy more because I deliver that smooth customer experience or experience. And it's about expansion. So how can I further grow my business as a web shop by, for instance, start to also sell internationally? And then you have cross-border, which is within Europe, but international is also outside of Europe to, for instance, the US. And start to talk about these type of themes. It was not there. So about a couple of months ago, we started with rolling out these campaigns in all the different countries. And then about brand building. So brand building, it's about building your brand, building relevant reach. Today, we still do nothing about that. But a month ago, my new head of brand building started. And right now, we are working on campaigns, brand building initiatives in order to build the brand in the Netherlands, but also in a couple of other countries. Because if you do it right, everything we do in brand building, which relatively costs also a lot of money, but if you do it right, the rest of the funnel, the rest of the buying journey, the rest of the campaigns is really benefiting from it. And that is what we measure in conversion rate. Because if we expose a message to one of those personas, and this logistic manager has seen us before, because we had some interesting stuff to share, then that person will say, okay, I've seen them before, they look like reasonable guys and girls, so let's click on it, or let's view this, or let's listen to them. So, about campaigns, the foundation, different stages in the buying journey, and the different personas. Okay, let's start to talk about collaboration. So, how to organize all of this. And, what you recognize, because this is how I structured the teams. So it's exactly the same along the customer buying journey. So it's exactly the same as within the blueprint. Which means I have a brand building team, I have a demand creation team, I have a demand capturing team, and as of the 1st of January next year, I also will have an expansion team. And this expansion team will purely focus on our existing customers and making sure that we help merchants to grow, that we retain them, but also to reduce churn. All of those teams are multidisciplinary teams. And this is also one of the things that I experienced within Sendcloud, but also at Backbase, at CM, and but also at Exact. Because at Exact, And then if you go back to one of the first slides, I plotted those different skill sets, like product marketing, copywriters, etc. And what you still see in many organizations is that they are organized in a functional way, which means we have a team of copywriters, we have a team of product marketers, we have a team of online marketers, we have a team of marketing operation specialists. And that is something that I already experienced during my exact time, which is from 2012 to 2019. What I already experienced there is, well, you've seen it, marketing is such a complex discipline that a marketing initiative or marketing campaign, I consider it as a piece of software. Because you start to build on something, and which is a campaign, and this campaign consists of a lot of different elements, because there's text in there are visuals in there for online marketing purposes, ads, but also videos, white papers, presentations, podcasts. Well, there are so many means that as a marketing department you can develop and you can create. But yeah, you also need to cover all those different personas and all those different stages of the buying journey. And that can become quite complex. So we were organized in a functional way at Exact. And at some moment in time, we had so much pain. People were literally fighting within the teams because once they were working on the campaign, and for instance, the copywriters, they created their short copy or long copy, and they threw it over the fence to the online marketing guys or to the design people to create the online ads. And for instance, in German, apparently German people need a lot of words and letters to make sentences. Yeah, they had to come back to the design people and saying, hey, you created this copy, but we cannot use it within those type of ads either, or I have to change a lot of things. But yeah, the copywriters, they were already busy with other things. So just an example of what kind of fights were happening within the marketing team. So then we had to think about something different, and that's also where I started to look at, okay, how is software being developed? Because again, I consider a campaign as a piece of software. So we develop something, we create a lot of stuff, we release it, but the version 1.0, and then we start to optimize. And optimize means that within a media channel like LinkedIn or like Meta, we are optimizing things. But yeah, we also start to see, hey, which ads are resonating, which pieces of content, which videos, with podcasts, which whatever is starting to resonate with the market. And then you can start to release a version 1.1 with more insights, more assets, better assets that, hopefully it will make you perform better. And that in software works exactly the same. And this working methodology is called Scrum. So it's just a methodology how to collaborate with each other, with multidisciplinary teams, making sure that those multidisciplinary team knows exactly, hey, this is my remit, this is my responsibility, this is my accountability, and if I get awake in this morning, this is what I need to work on. And this is also how I organized those teams, multidisciplinary teams. And on the horizontal axis, you see all those different skill sets. You need to create a campaign, because you always need someone who takes care of communications. And with communications, I mean people who know how to communicate. They know how to write short and long copy, copywriters, for instance. Communications, design people. Yeah, design people, people who design stuff for the website, videographers, photographers, website designers, UX designers, so people who design stuff. Media, so people who manage media channels like LinkedIn. It's a science on itself. The Google channels, I mean AdWords, it's a science on itself. But also looking at existing customers, we do a lot of in-app communications. And at Sendcloud, for that we use a platform called customer.io. It's also managing a media channel and making sure that to the right people at the right moments in time, you engage with them. You start to share some valuable stuff. So media people, product marketing, my linking pin to the product organization. These are my subject matter experts. And I need them everywhere. So I need them everywhere, not only in the bottom of the funnel, not only in branding, maybe less in branding, but especially within middle of funnel and bottom of funnel. So demand creation and demand capturing. I need those people. Growth and campaign managers, so those people who oversee stuff. So those people who know, okay, these are the audiences that we want to reach out to, these are the results, so these are the number of companies where we want to identify interest, these are the number of companies where we want to identify buy intent. You need those people who coordinate stuff. And operations, so that is all about the tech stack, data, web technology, and marketing automation. And this is how I organize the team. So each and every team has all those different disciplines within a team itself. So they know exactly, okay, this is the customer journey part I need to cover, and these are my personas, and these are the challenges that they cope with, and this is the way how I can start to engage with them, all to lead them through this marketing funnel. But keep in mind, this is all theory, because in real life it goes everywhere. And of course, we first would like to introduce people who don't know us with some brand building stuff, and then we want to confront them with some demand creation stuff. Again, that's theory, it doesn't work that way. And to give you an example, yesterday I was talking to some of the members in the team, and they were explaining to me, okay, Mark, yeah, so now we are building stuff, the campaign managers are talking to each other, and we want to target the demand creation campaigns only on those people who we touched with our brand building campaigns. I said, bad idea. Because the chances that it will work that way are very, very minimal. So please just make sure that you turn on this always on campaigns to your entire addressable market. But given the different messages that you serve, that you bring to them, yeah, you will start to see what resonates and what doesn't resonate. Because if someone really is in market, that person will feel itself seduced or attracted by what you have to tell them in this capturing phase. And people, if they are not exploring, if they are not aware that they have an issue within our domain, they won't respond on that type of campaigns. Hopefully, they will start to respond on those demand creation teams around campaigns, around expansion or efficiency or other stuff, or those brand building campaigns. So, where to start and how to start? And well, in Twinfield, it was myself and another guy who were in marketing, and we doubled the team by the end of my period there, so we were at 4 people. At Exact, when I started, the team was about 20 people, and when I left, it was about 80. So the team grew pretty fast. At CM.com, the team was about 10 people, and when I left, it was about 70. And now within Sendcloud, the team is about 35 people. But yeah, whether you are smaller or whether you are bigger, this blueprint is regardless how many team you have how many people you have in the marketing team. I'm also one of the board members in a company named WeFact. It's online invoicing, and they only have 1 sales rep and 1 part-time marketing employee. But still, they have to take into account, hey, if you reach out to your audiences, they are also in different stages of that buying journey. And in terms of intensity that they can create, in terms of campaigns, it will be less. But still, this blueprint you need to apply also once you have a smaller team. Okay, but where to start and how to balance your resources, people and money, to those different teams. And there's a lot of research around this. And this guy, Les Binet, he did a lot of research, scientific research, and this is also used a lot, many times in all kinds of presentations. And basically, best practice, what they research is that in best practice situation, 60% of your resources is spent on brand building. And only 40% is spent on demand generation, so this middle and this bottom part. But in many companies, so when I started at Sendcloud, it was 10% in brand building, because we also consider PR as a brand building, and 90% was in this demand generation stuff, of which 95% was in this bottom of funnel, and then only focus on this webshop owner, and then the majority of the campaigns was in were Google Ads. So we were paying loads of money to Google Ads. And what happens is, it's also kind of drug, because you put more money in it, and then you start to grow. But at some moment in time, it starts to level. And that's also the stage that we reached as Sendcloud. So we had to change something. And also keep in mind that, of course, you want to build your brand, but also by running proper demand capturing campaigns and demand creation campaigns, you also build your brand. I mean, because people see you, and they see that what you have to tell. It's also about building the brand. But this is best practice balance between brand building and demand generation. And what this graph explains to you is, if you only remain in this bottom part, yeah, you will see a spike. So you will invest more money and you will see a spike. But pretty soon, your performance, in terms of performance, so in terms of the outcome, for instance, in identifying this buying intent, will quickly go down. And the sustainable way to build on your brand is to really start to build this full funnel thing, and then with also brand building. And then you really start to build, yeah, a common ground and a strong foundation. Okay, this is exactly what we are doing right now within Sendcloud. And how I would like to call this is, I always flip the funnel. So where to start? At the bottom of your funnel, because that's where the low-hanging fruit is. But keeping in mind that it will cost you relatively a lot of money to get people within your funnel. So at the vertical axis, you can see the different teams or the different type of campaigns. In Q2 this year, I joined. So during Q2, I restructured the entire team because it was functional organized, and I started to create those multidisciplinary teams. And I started in Q3 at the bottom of the funnel. So that's why it is also lighter green, is there we started to, besides those transactional campaigns, we also started to talk about tracking, returns, well, other capabilities in the platform. And we also started to do other things than only Google Ads. So we also created visual ads. So visual display ads in the display networks of LinkedIn, Meta, and LinkedIn, Meta, and yeah, that's basically it. And then during Q3, by the end of Q3, we were releasing our first middle of funnel campaign, the expansion campaign. And this was mainly around international expansion. So how can you grow as a merchant? Well, you might think about how to expand to other countries. And there, well, because that's the horizontal axis, it tells something about time. So slowly but surely, we are releasing, so developing and releasing more and more campaigns. And I expect that, during Q2, Q3, we will start to release our brand building campaigns. And this could be anything, so online campaigns that we run online, but also potential sponsorships. And examples of sponsorships is at Exact, we sponsored Max Verstappen. And at CM.com, we sponsored the Formula 1 circuit in Zandvoort. So we do have some, or I do have some, experience with sponsorships in the sporting scene. And well, Eindhoven, Sendcloud, you might think about potential sponsorships that we can come up with. But this is all in the talks. Then the lines that you see within those blocks, these are the metrics. So the metric at the top, it is cost per acquisition. And cost per acquisition, you can look to it from different perspectives. So cost, it is about out-of-pocket marketing cost. But you can also look at, include the staffing costs of the people. And if you really do it right, so talking about the CAC, the customer acquisition cost, you also include all sales costs. Here I'm only looking at the customer acquisition cost because I want to relate it to marketing. I only look at the cost per acquisition and then looking to out-of-pocket marketing cost and staffing cost. And what you will see is, at the beginning in Q3, we were paying a lot of money to acquire new customers. But by bringing in new type of messages, we started to see that this cost of acquisition went down. But at some moment in time, this cost per acquisition will go up. Because, what we will start to see is once the market becomes saturated, you need to do also other stuff. The blue line, it is about how much ARR do you generate against each and every invested out-of-pocket marketing euro or dollar. And this will go up. Because at some moment in time you will see, hey, it costs us less to get customers in, and we are also, because we are talking about value of the platform and not only talking about pricing, you will also see that the revenue that we start to generate per invested marketing euro will go up. But at some moment in time, this will also flatten. And then we have the yellow line, and that tells us something about the growth. Because, of course, you can grow, and that was also an example in Sendcloud, so we were really growing dramatically in the UK. It was during Q2 when I just joined. But at some moment in time, I created the first graph and I was showing it into the leadership team. And I was telling them, okay, we are growing in the UK and we are outperforming the targets. Well, there are two things. Maybe the targets are too low. But more importantly, I was also showing them the cost per acquisition. And there we saw that acquiring a customer in the UK was 4 times more expensive than, for instance, in the Netherlands or in Belgium. So there we started to realize, okay, we are growing, but it costs us way too much, And that had a huge impact on, all the decisions that we made afterwards. So this yellow line, it is explaining, okay, where are we able to grow? But also this grow, with all those new campaigns that we will be releasing, will balance out, will flatten. And that's where brand building comes into play. Because then, if we really start, and brand building is really about talking to broad audiences, talking to broader audiences, so not only to your customers, also your prospects, also investors and potential employees. This will have a huge impact on the performance of all the other campaigns in general. And basically, the previous picture was showing this based on research, and this is what will happen within Sendcloud. And it needs to happen, but I've seen this before in other companies, and I'm sure this will start to happen during the course of next year. So, key takeaway is only one thing: flip the funnel. And flip the funnel, it means start at the bottom, whether you are small or whether you are slightly bigger, start at the bottom and slowly but surely build yourself up or elevate yourself within this customer buying journey. And start small, and in an iterative way, expand your campaigns, expand the things that you are doing within the market. We work in 2-week sprints. So keep it small, keep it simple, and create an environment where people feel that they are performing, feel that they are delivering stuff. Because then teams can start to excel. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Are there some questions from the audience? Oh, yes. We have time for 2, sorry. Yes.
Yes, thank you. Awesome story. You work for big companies with big budgets. If you have 1% of the budget you have now, what would you spend it on? Taking into account what you just told us.
Yeah, bottom of funnel. Flip the funnel.
So is that brand building? Is that
demand capturing?
Demand capturing.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, so bottom of the funnel.
And then, follow-up question is that would there be a specific part of that funnel that you would invest in?
Yeah, so the example in Sendcloud. So majority of the campaigns were AdWords campaigns. But AdWords is really intentional. So people are looking for stuff that we can offer as Sendcloud. So even within the bottom of funnel, we were not trying to reach out to people who are not searching for things. So just by talking about not only talking about pricing, but also in a visual display ad, already by doing that, we started to broaden our scope, and we started also to reach other people. So this is a very small step that within Sendcloud we took, but I would also do within another company.
Okay, thank you.
One more. You can take a pick.
Hey, Mark. Is there any overlap or knowledge sharing between the specialists within each of your teams? Like, how do you apply learnings from one cross team to another without it being inefficient?
Yeah, very good one. So we have the customer journey teams, and they have their backlog. They have a product owner. They have Scrum Masters, and day to day they are working with each other. At the horizontal axis, I had those. I call them crafts, and for each and every craft, I have a craft lead. And the craft lead, this person is responsible for aligning, for instance, all the online marketers within the media craft, that they align with each other. So the craft lead, I have bi-weekly meetings with this person in making sure that the quality of the things that they deliver, we are lifting up. And that's where the person is responsible for.
So like head of each, like demand capture, brand expansion, but then also head of designers, head of product marketing, head of, okay. And they all report to you?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Unfortunately, we're out of time now. Are you still around for a while?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So again, if you still have more questions, you can probably approach Mark, and he'll be happy to have a chat.
Okay, thank you.